So go to create. Ready?
Yes.
What is the topic for today, Heather?
Today we are going to talk about two different types of communication styles. The first type of communication style is what I like to call the immediate communicator. You process your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings right away. You've got to get them out and communicate with them as quickly as you possibly can. The other communicator is more of an introspective communicator. They need to process what they're thinking. They need to think about what they're thinking before they actually share with you what they're thinking. And sometimes they don't even know what they're thinking until they have time and space and mental energy and mental space, I guess, to know what they're thinking. And then they communicate with you.
That's happened to me. I think sometimes you've noticed something's different with me and I don't even know yet because I haven't had time to figure out what's going on. So
I want to talk a little bit about what it's like to be an immediate communicator married to someone who's a little bit more introspective in their communication style. What I have seen is that in some marriages, both the husband and wife are immediate communicators. They need to communicate with each other as quickly as those thoughts come flying and racing through their head. They don't ever really need time to process what they're thinking because they can figure out what they're thinking and feeling as they communicate.
Sometimes, though, both are introspective and both need a lot of time to get to the point, to get to what they're actually feeling. But I think most marriages
are more like our marriage, where I tend to be the more immediate communicator. I tend to want to communicate instantly and as quickly as possible with John, especially if an issue arises. And John, you tend to be a little bit more of an introspective communicator. It takes you a little bit longer to process what you're thinking and feeling before you're able to share it with me.
So how do you get along when you have two different styles?
I want to focus on what it feels like to be an immediate communicator married to someone who is more of an introspective communicator. Early in our marriage, when John would come home from work or when I would have something happen, emotional or drama in my life, I would instantly want to communicate with him. And I did not realize early in my marriage that it was something that was not a burden for you, but it was hard for John to know then how to respond to me. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
Yeah, and it was kind of an untapped skill. I didn't know how to do it, really. So
I would just overshare, share everything, and I would feel like wouldn't know how to respond to me.
Right.
And I think a lot of couples go through this communication dance of figuring out how to communicate these things. And I want to share with you, our wonderful viewers, just a little bit about how I've learned how to live with someone who's more of an introspective communicator as an immediate communicator. And those are going to be the tips I share with you. My first tip is to give your introspective communicator time and space to process what's going on. I know that there would be times where something would occur and I would greet you at the door.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm fresh off of work. I just want to come home. I need 5 minutes at least to just shift gears. So it was very helpful when you learned that, okay, he's not got one foot in the door. I'm going to just give him time and let him kind of come down from his work high, and then we can talk.
And that was learning for me, to learn to say, not everything needs to be discussed the moment I want to discuss it with you. So learning to have a little bit of patience on my end has been very helpful, and giving that space. I think another thing is that I've learned that if there's a topic that I really want to discuss with John, I give him the space, and then I find the right time to talk about it with him. So if it's a more important topic, I may wait to find a moment where we're alone, or the kids are in bed, or we're on a date night, where it's not something that I'm trying to shove a really big topic into a space of time that doesn't fit how he communicates.
I've appreciated, like, we won't start a conversation right before bed. I think that's just then neither
big
of us sleeps.
conversation.
Right. So that's a timing thing. One of my tips that I've noticed that Heather's picked up on in the years we've been married is she'll sometimes give me a little tidbits, a little bit of an advance warning, like, hey, I'd like to talk about this, so when you're ready, and that gives me time to think and process, oh, okay, this is coming, so it's not out of left field. I like a little warning, advanced warning.
And then my final thing that I've learned in marriage, the tip that I would give is that it's okay if things don't get resolved the minute that I want them resolved. And so it's okay for there to be space or time for it to get resolved, where early in our marriage I wanted things resolved right away, and I had a hard time being patient, waiting for you to communicate so that we could get something resolved. I had to learn how to wait and be patient for my more introspective communicator.
And I have learned that sometimes you need to communicate quicker, and we'll cover that on another marriage moment.
We know that you all have different communication styles, and we hope that today you've been encouraged to find your communication style, learn about the communication style of your husband or wife, and make more awesome communication moments in your marriage. Now it's time for viewer moments.
So today we did a poll of, are you an introspective or an immediate communicator? And it looks like 67% of you associate with being more of an introspective communicator. So
33% are more immediate communicators like myself.
whatever communication skills you have, you can always learn to make them better. Question of the week. What's the biggest distraction in your marriage?
Remember, moments are what make a marriage.
So go create a communication marriage moment. Okay, so maybe I don't talk a lot, but when I talk, I make up for it by being loud. So go to YouTube and subscribe, and click the bell for notifications.